the one and only Les Brown.
Oh, thank you very much.
The whole subject is about storytelling, and I can tell that you're one of the world's greatest. Can you let people know the importance of storytelling and what has it done for your career?
Well, thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts with the audience, but also thank you for the work that you have committed yourself to do to help to transform people's lives, expand their visions of themselves, and give them the tools they need to reinvent themselves, to live their dreams rather than their fears. So thank you, Manny Fernandez, for the person that you have become and the impact that you're making. I'm very honored to share a few thoughts with you. Steve Jobs, I think he said it best in terms of storytelling. He said nothing and no one is as powerful as the storyteller. He said the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world. The storyteller creates cultures, transform mindsets, and impact people's lives, and take people to a place in themselves that they can't go by themselves. In my particular case, when I think about my life, that my ability to tell a story has allowed me to become a disc jockey when I was in Columbus, Ohio, and Miami, Florida, as a radio personality. I was LB Triple P, Les Brown, you platinum playing papa. There's none before me, there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle. I was a disc jockey, then I became a community activist, and then I became a state legislator because of my ability to tell a story, because politics is about the story you tell about yourself and the story you tell about your opponent, the story your opponent tells about you, and they also determine who they're going to vote for based upon what your opponent tells about themselves. Whoever is most impactful in that area will get the most votes. And so I produced specials for public television as a result of my ability to tell a story, and raised millions of dollars for them. I was selected by Toastmasters International for their Golden Gavel Award, their highest award, and also among the top 5 speakers in the world: General Norman Schwarzkopf, Lee Iacocca, Paul Harvey, Robert Schuller, and then myself. And they're all gone, so I'm the last man standing. Okay, so, but no one would have predicted that I would be able to advance my life to telling a story about being born in Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother, and being a foster kid, then being adopted, and being labeled educable, mentally retarded in the 5th grade, and put back to the 4th grade, and failed again in the 8th grade. And as a result of an interruption in my life by a person who saw the potential in me to do more and to experience more, that it was a transformative impact in my life. And so it's been very powerful even to this day. So what questions would you like to ask me?
Well, I hear your voice. When I listen to you, you stretch out your words. You have a different frequency of your voice. How did you develop that?
Speakers speak. And as a result, Manny, you have a frequency behind your voice. There are certain people, when I speak, they're going to hear me. But there are certain people, when you speak, Manny, they're going to hear you. There are people listening to me right now that they speak and speak and speak. It's just like we have children when they're young. I have my grandson here, and he's downstairs working on a piece that I do that he loves. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it. Now, he loves that. His voice is high-pitched now. He's 7 years old. But as he matures, then that voice is going to get fuller. And so by the same token, that as we speak, when I started out, this was not the voice. It'd been another voice not showing up. I say, okay. So your voice is like a muscle. And when you learn how to use it to create various moments and be able to create a significant emotional event with your voice, that it begins to expand in so many ways. I'm in my 77th year on the planet. My son asked me, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm a 35-year-old man trapped in a 77-year-old body."
Wow. Do you have any upcoming events or anything that people can see
Yes, I'm going to be doing an event, and I'm featuring and showcasing the careers of several speakers, and it will take place in Queens, New York at the Rock Church. And it's called "You Gotta Be Hungry for Greatness." And what people will see are various storytellers, people that I've trained to teach them how they can take their story, one, to make a difference in people's lives. Impact drives income, and it also drives requests, and it allows you to increase your wealth. So they will learn a variety of things at this event. I want to talk more also about speaking. That is not just the voice, it's how you use your voice to deliver people into what I call an imaginative leap, where they get out of their head and they go into the future and see themselves differently. And so it's the arrangements of the words that you bring, how you use your voice, the emotions and the spirit that those words are infused with. You have something special. You have greatness in you. I don't know you, but here's what I know about you based upon my own experience. I'm reminded of the play Lion King. Simba, you are more than that which you have become. You are more than what you have become. You can do more. You can have more. But most of us die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. Most of us don't discover the power, the authority and dominion in us to be able to control our destiny and create a new reality for ourselves. So putting the words together and having someone to coach you on how to become more effective. Serena Williams is the most gifted and talented tennis player on the planet, but she has a coach. And so when we look at speaking, it's just like anything else. In order to be great at it, you have to have a coach, somebody who's experienced, who's doing it on the level that you like to do it on, and who can bring it out of you, what I call get the butter from the duck.
That's beautiful. If you guys are interested in learning from Les Brown, maybe on a Zoom, maybe it's a joint event, make sure you just message me on Instagram. I'll do my best to beg Les Brown to mentor us for a fee, of course. But make sure you message me on Instagram.
No, you don't have to beg me. This is my calling. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. One of the things, if people go online and watch Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, and it's I'm speaking before over 80,000 people. And the reason I select this is because I was frightened out of my wits. I went there thinking that there was some place in that facility that there was a banquet room and I would speak to around 500 to 1,000 people. No one ever told me the number, and I probably would not have showed up had I known. So when they had someone to open the car door for me, and I came in, the guy's walking with me down the hall. He said, "What is it like to speak to 80,000 people?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, you're going to find out today." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "That's what you're going to be doing today." He said, "Come over here." And he had me to look out at the audience. I said, "Oh my God." I broke out and I started running. He said, "Man, where are you going? They're about to introduce you." I said, "I got to go to the bathroom It's number one. And so when I locked myself in the restroom and they were knocking on the door, and I said, I'm sorry, but I don't know what's going on. I'm filled with fear. I can't think. And so they got Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. He's been my mentor all of these years, and he knocked on the door. He said, Brownie, come out. I said, Mike, I can't hear the voices. I can't hear the voices, Mike. He said, you're scared, aren't you? I said, yes. There are 80,000 people out there. He said, Brownie, they came to see you. You didn't come to see them. You got this. I was really silent for a moment. And then he really got me. He said, Brownie, come out, speak, and make your mother proud. Feel the fear and allow that fear to drive you. I said, whoa. I said, Mike, do you think I could do it? Do you, Mike? He said, yeah, absolutely. Come on, man. And Manny, sometimes you have to have someone in your life who believes in you until your belief kicks in. And as we were walking toward the stage, I said, would y'all please pray for me? And so I dropped down to my knees and I grabbed their hands and put them on my head. I don't know what I was going to do. And then I stood up and started going to the stage, and I turned around to run again, and he grabbed me. I said, I got to go one more time. I'm not through yet. He said, yes, you are. Pee on the stage. so we walked up the steps, and he looked at me with such a conviction. And by this time, I'm nervous, I'm trembling, and tears in my eyes because I'm in new territory. I've never been here before. And he said, Brownie, he said, you got this, man. You got this. And it just like a peace came over me, how he looked at me. And I turned, and the guy gave me the microphone. And they gave the speech. I was nervous the whole time. But I allowed that energy to give me the courage and the conviction to drive me to be able to command that audience. And had I not been nervous and taken it casually, I don't think that I'd have been able to win that audience over. And so when you watch that particular presentation, and many people allow fear to shut them down. It was Zig, I think, who said, many people in a fearful situation, they forget everything and run. But there are some in a fearful situation, they face everything and rise. And so I rose to the occasion. I allowed that fear to drive me. I couldn't hear the distractions, and I was putting everything in me in that presentation. I remember a quote by A.L. Williams. He said, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. And I was making sure that as I spoke, that each word, as I told a story, that I gave it everything that I had. And everybody listening here can do it. See, when I was confronted by Mike Williams to become my coach, and I said, man, I would love to do that, but, I don't have a college education. And he said, Brownie, stop it. All of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. You can learn. And he said, are you willing to learn? I said, yes, I want to. I love to help people like Mr. Washington helped me. And so Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is? I said, yes, absolutely. I want to bet on me, man. And so I did that, and he started working with me. It was very emotional for me because I did not know this Les Brown existed. That everybody listening right now, there's another part of them. And that part of them caused them to be here listening to you right now. They're on a road of self-discovery. They have some way, somehow, they're broken away from the crowd. My favorite book says, the road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it, and few there be that are looking for it. But these people that are listening to you right now, they're looking for the next greatest version of themselves. I'm not a religious person. Religious people are afraid of going to hell. Spiritual people have been there. And hell to me is what you experience when you die and you meet the person that you were supposed to become. And I said I wasn't coming out of the house till 2027. But I've been in the house so long. Manny, I've been talking to squirrels. I got a squirrel friend named Tyrone. Like you said, if we hear you in here talking to squirrels, we gonna put you in a mental institution. So, I sometimes I mess with them when they call me. I say, I've been thinking about you. What did I do? They said, Daddy, what's wrong? I said, Tyrone is making me bilingual. I speak squirrely and now he speaks English.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me some questions.
I got a couple of questions for many people been asking me. Manny, I have a very sob story, and it goes on for a very long period of time. And I love to speak about my sob story, and I like to tell them, no one really cares that much. They care about how you can help them. But maybe I'm saying it the wrong way. I'd love to hear your point of view. I want to ask you a couple of questions, then we'll bring up the crowd to ask questions.
Okay, let me address that. People do care about your sob story. The story that you're sitting on, as Dr. Cheryl Woods would say, is the story that people are waiting on. But you have to tell the story strategically. So I would say to her that get some coaching on how to tell the story and create an experience with the story and provide the sizzle and not the steak. Because there's certain things in the story, if you don't place it in the right area of the speech, they won't be able to move forward with you with the rest of the content on how you got out of that situation where you were, or how you overcame that abuse. What is it you had to do? Who is it you had to be? How is it that you had to reinvent yourself, to develop the courage to say, this is not me. I'm out of here. And so that story, and there are a lot of them out here now. There are millions of people that are suffering from empty pockets, broken hearts, and broken spirits. And they need to hear a story. We are wired, human beings are wired for stories. And when we are governed by a story, it can take us out of a place of darkness into the light and allow us to see ourselves in the future. My favorite book says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. I remember Flip Wilson. You're too young to know Flip Wilson. He's a comedian. He had a saying, what you see is what you get.
And any moment he can decide to leave, but we're going to beg him to stay.
I'm not going to do that and leave you hanging dry.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. You know what? I want to let you guys know.
Yeah, you are family, man. Come on.
All right, you got it. We want to support Les Brown. I'll tell you why, because, he's a super legend. He helped influence my life and many other people that are not here. So question for Les Brown. Feel free to open up your mic and give it a try. Start off with your question is for the sake of time, please.
Hi, this is Jeff McCallum. My question is, did you ever go through imposter syndrome?
What does that mean, Jeff?
Imposter syndrome to me means, like, for example, I take myself. I've been super successful in business. I've achieved a lot of my goals. I'm 59. I've mentored a lot of people, employees, and and a lot of people around me. Created great children. They're entrepreneurs as well. And now I thought I would like to go into some type of mentoring, but more so motivational speaking. So it's kind of a two-part. Is motivational speaking the same as mentoring? I suppose it is, but I guess the imposter syndrome for me is, I guess, were you ever at that point where you thought, well, geez, I don't really know as much as I think I know, and they'll discover me, or whatever it is. I guess it's something along the lines of that. Kind of a clouded question, but...
Yes, your answer is clouded. Yeah.
I think the real thing is the difference between mentoring... Go ahead, sorry.
You're switching now, saying difference between mentoring and what?
And motivational speaking. Like, is there a difference, I guess? That's a question.
Well, first of all, I think you don't have to label yourself. You've had some success. You've done some things. And there are people who need to know, hey, how did you get there? What did you do? What was it like to experience failure and disappointment on the way to your goal and your dream? How did you keep your head up? How did you maintain a spirit of optimism? And then, what is your first name again?
Jeff.
My name is Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about your goals and dreams right now. And as you think about your goals and dreams, I want you to think about this, that it's important, if you're serious, if you have some goals that you want, and if you're serious about accomplishing those goals, that you jump out of line. What do you mean, Jeff? Well, we're taught, be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. They're following the crowd. That the people who are successful hold themselves to a higher standard. The people that are successful, they think like Henry David Thoreau. He said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. And I decided I wanted more out of life. I jumped out of line. Next thing is expand your vision. Most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. And many don't aim at all. You can do more than what you have accomplished thus far. Push and challenge yourself. The other thing that's really important, you got to focus. See, when you are focused, we live in the economy that is called the attention economy. You've got to focus. You've got to tune out everything, the naysayers, the conversation within yourself that tells you, you can't do it, Jeff. Yeah, you got to ignore those negative conversations, our self-explanatory style. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. So you've got to focus on developing your talent, your abilities, your skills to achieve that which you want to achieve, to begin to impact the world. And finally, faith. Faith not tested can't be trusted. Faith without works is dead. Decide that you are going to feed your faith and allow your doubts to starve to death. You got something special. Jump out of line. Expand your vision. Focus your mind. And feed your faith. My name is Jeff. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wow, thank you very much. That was great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow. May I ask a question? This is
Hold
Elliot.
on. Georgiana, I know you made a donation to the Our Mindset Foundation. Did you have a question, Georgiana?
I'm actually listening to how Les Brown is responding to Jeff, and that is absolutely amazing. My question I had was, I'm wanting to find out the step-by-step approach to really tell a good story. And I find a little in that. I wish I could record it or catch everything. But that's my question, the step-by-step approach to really tell a real good story.
Number one, get a coach, as I said before, that's experienced, that's accomplished, that can take you to a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself, because you can't read the label. when you're locked in the box. Okay? You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So it's very important that you get a coach that's experienced, that's achieved what it is you want to achieve, so that you will not have to unlearn the wrong way. I have people tell me all the time, well, I'm a very good speaker. I practice in the mirror all the time. Well, they have untrained eyes looking at them, and they have friends who say, oh, you were real good, who won't write them a check. So you need a coach that can help you put your story together in a way, and you become so good that people can't ignore you, and they'll pay you to do it. When I speak inside of the United States, I get $70,000 an hour. Outside of the States, I get $225,000. And so I don't say that to impress you, but there's gold in your mouth. Let me tell you something. The first time I got a check for $500, I had to restrain myself from speaking in unknown tongues. Chevrolet, Honda, Toyota, Toddy yellow bow tie. So, oh boy. But one of the things I'll tell you right now that's very important in telling a speech and sharing a speech is don't just present it, experience the speech as you're giving it. And include in a speech, and I want you to write this down, Joanne, never make a point without a story, and never tell a story without a speech, without a point. Never make a point without a story, and never tell a story without a point. And here's one other piece that's invaluable that I went from an unknown person in Columbus, Ohio, radio personality, to becoming national and global. This is key. The majority of speakers, even to this day, they are governed by the philosophy of the Dale Carnegie course, which is a very good course. I just have a different approach how I train speakers. They teach speakers. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. That sounds very cute, very unique, and practical and logical. I teach you, never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience wants to hear. Conduct communications intelligence. A friend of mine that spoke before me to a group the other day, and he's a powerful speaker, and he came in and he gave his signature message, and it was powerful. But that was a good, powerful speech for the wrong audience. I spent all day and the night before asking questions of the CEO, of the marketing director, of the top performers. What is it, the 5 things that you want the audience to walk away with? And collecting stories. And then I custom designed the presentation around a formula that I've created that created a significant emotional event that distract, dispute, and inspire. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So you as a speaker, as a coach, as a person who want to make a difference in people's lives, you distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract them from their story. And through the execution of your speech and the stories strategically, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter with their lives.
Well, that's really amazing. I want to make sure we move to Elliot, and anyone that's on stage that you guys know is because you either follow me, number 1, you're part of the Patreon account, or you made a donation to your Mindset Foundation. Back to you, Elliot.
Les, I'm a little bit, I don't really get sort of that, nervous butterflies when I talk to people, but I'm a huge fan. So thank you so much for this opportunity. So it just a 20-second anecdote and then a quick question. I was in the gym years ago, one of those gyms that is a lot of people in really good shape. You're kind of a little intimidated. But then I looked over and I saw somebody working out, a couple people, and I was like, wow, there's something different over there. And I struck up a conversation. It turned out it was Ryan Bailey, who's an Olympic sprinter, a medalist in the Olympics. Watching him work out and watching everybody else work out, it just framed everything very differently. I'm having that experience right now. I'm a decent speaker, but wow, I'm writing so many things down from you. It's a little overwhelming. That bomb you just dropped. Don't. Your message might not be what the audience is to hear. Learn, adapt in those moments. It's just. I'm just kind of sitting with that for a minute. But my question is, one of my favorite things about how you speak is that you do these mic drop moments, and they're almost like subtle. You just say something, and then you tell a story. For example, you say, you let other people's opinion become your reality. Mic drop, right? And then you almost say it quietly. I've listened to so many of your speeches, and then you go on to tell a story that explains or speaks to that point, right? And I'm not going to rattle off all the examples. There's too many of them, but they're brilliant. I'm really genuinely curious. What is the process around those? What is the creative process? Do you think of those and then you tell the stories? The stories kind of those mic drop moments fall out of the stories that you have. I would love, and please, anything you can share about that creative process would be super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, the best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. So in your speech, you want to have places that create moments of aha, wow, like you call a mic drop. Okay? And so that in putting together the presentation, you know that certain things are going to work. How do you know? Because when I find a quote that I like, then I memorize that quote, and I do that a minimum of 5 a day. And I use it a minimum of 5 times throughout the day to watch and to observe and listen to the listening. This is very important. Listen to the listening. Listen to how the person is listening to me, if I'm before them or on the telephone or on Zoom. And then I determine if that's a keeper. And so there's certain things that's out there that we've heard. A.O. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. When I speak to audiences, I ask them the questions. How many of you know if you had your life to live over again, you could have done more than what you've done thus far? And when they raise their hands, I also raise my hands because I know I have more in me. I know even at 77, I'm not through yet. I understand the words of Miles Monroe, who said, live full and die empty. Rob the cemetery of your gifts, of your talent, of your voice, of your story. And so I'm robbing the cemetery of my speech and all the things that I believe in. And I'm also helping you to become a grave robber, because there's some things in you that I don't want you to take to your grave, and you don't either. And you need to be about the business of your Father's business, to do the greater work so that you can begin to move forward and live a life that you can feel proud of. So there's certain things that I said in there that's in the collective consciousness. The greater work, my favorite book. So people are curious. What's your favorite book? Don't worry. You going to hell anyhow, so it doesn't matter.
That's funny.
I'm just playing. But I'm serious. And the reason I don't say the Bible is because of the fact that I'm not there to proselytize. I speak from the Kabbalion, I speak from the Quran, I speak from the Bible, the Kabbalah, I speak from a variety of sources. And the other thing is, speakers are well read. I don't just use the quotes, I say the place from which I got them. And because I'm always looking for ways and strategies that that we can create committed listening. And so listening to your voice and the gentleman who spoke before you, these are commanding voices. These are gifts. Your voices are more powerful than mine. And you were given that voice for a purpose. I strongly believe at this stage in my life that things don't just happen. There are many places on Clubhouse you can be right now. But this is a God moment. This is a moment for you to look at you and face the reality of all of the compliments that you've gotten on your voice. That's real, and that you need to do something with that. That you are here because of God's grace and mercy. There are over 500,000 people gone just in this country, but you're still here. You could be taking a dirt nap, but you're still here because there's an assignment for you. There's a work for you. There are people who are fearful right now, and when you speak, they will come out and understand that God does not want us to be in a state of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. When you speak, there are people who have given up and thrown the towel on themselves, that you will give them an infusion of the spirit of hope and allow them to come out into the light because of your voice. Oh, you are here for a reason, and I'm so glad that you're listening.
I have a question, but first I have a statement. I don't know if anyone has ever told you, but your laughter sounds so much like Maya Angelou's laughter. Like it comes from deep inside and it just comes out when you're laughing. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that, have they?
No, and I spent a whole day with Maya Angelou, and it was a fascinating day. And she said something to me at the end of the day that I never forgot. She said, "It angers me when people say that I am a gifted communicator, a natural." She said, "Show me a gifted or natural heart surgeon. They're trained." I just discovered my birth parents in Gainesville, Georgia. My oldest son, he went on a search for them through one of these search programs, and come to find out my original name was Calvin Randolph. My twin brother's name was Alvin Randolph. My father's name was Doc Oliver Randolph, and my birth mother's name was Dorothy Bell Rucker. She was a motivational speaker and an educator. And her mother, my grandmother, you can't make this stuff up. Her name was Beulah Rucker. They have a museum in her name recognizing her work as a motivational speaker, as an educator. She taught and started her own school in Gainesville, Georgia at a time when black people had no school to go to during segregation. And so she started her own school, and she was a driven woman and a dominant speaker, and she raised the funds to start the school, and she taught other kids how to read and taught them how to teach other kids to read. She valued education. And so people will say, well, that's in your DNA. No, I met two brothers I have that I didn't know I had, and they're not doing what I do. One, he's in a rocket chair. You know, he goes out on this porch, what I call, and say, "Hey, brother, what's going on?" "Oh, man, I was sitting out on the porch in a rocket chair, just relaxing." Whoa! I just say, okay. And the other brother, neither one of them speak, and they were raised by her directly. I believe that we all have greatness in us, but we've got to be willing to put in the focus and the work to develop the greatness that's in us, that's lying dormant there, waiting for us to call it forth. And so it's when I spoke and spent time with Maya Angelou, one of the things she said, she enjoyed my laugh, and I told her I enjoyed hers because we're two happy campers. And when I looked at the speakers that were out there, I admired Earl Nightingale and all the things that I listened to him over the years. I never heard Earl Nightingale laugh, or Zig Ziglar, or Jim Rohn. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to be me. There's a book called Do You. I've got, if something tickle me, I'm going to be tickled. And laughter is contagious. So I'll say things that if it's funny to me, it becomes funny to the audience. Speaking is such an exciting adventure. It's so, when you can come into a room of strangers, of 500, 1,000, or 5,000 people, as I did 2 weeks ago, and there are audiences inside of each audience, and you combine them with a story, you unify them, and you take them to another place where they can't go by themselves. That is so fascinating. I love it. You want to me, you want to find something in your life that you love so much that you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. I volunteered to speak for a very long time before I was paid. Most people don't know Dr. King gave, I have a dream. He gave that over 200 times, pardon me, before he spoke at the Washington Monument. So we're here for a purpose. And I say to people constantly who are nervous about speaking, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And once you get the coaching that you need that allows you to fine-tune your approach, you can be about the business of transforming lives and make some serious money. The most money I've ever earned, and I'll say this to impress you, because I'm very disturbed by the fact that the speaking industry has been corrupt by people who speak to sell, and they haven't done anything. All they know how to use various manipulative techniques and strategies, be it neuro-linguistic programming or other techniques, group hypnosis, to get people to run to the back of the room to buy their products or to buy their products online. I believe if you transform people's lives, if you speak life, people are going to want your product. They want to be with you. And so I never followed the money, but the money followed me. And so I spoke and gave 35 speeches. No, 16 to 3,500 doctors around the country. And in 1 month, 4 weeks, Monday through Thursday, I never thought this was possible. The average American earns $240,000 in their lifetime. Those 4 weeks, Monday through Thursday, I earned $640,000. I was blown away. So when you can speak, think about before the pandemic, 47 million people lost their jobs. Before the pandemic, they lost their jobs to artificial intelligence. Now, jobs have been destroyed because of the pandemic, and those jobs are not coming back. And there are people who were allowed to stay home until things cleared up, and they thought about it. My daughter said gaps are from God. They look up at somebody sitting across from them at the coffee table and say, you know what? I don't want to do life with you no more. I want a divorce. And they start singing that song, I Feel Lonely Whenever You Are Around. That's it. medication. Hold me. The audience,
your laughter is contagious.
Yeah.
I'm cracking up here. This is amazing.
Yeah, people.
Whether I know what you're saying or not, it's making me laugh.
And so people enjoy. Laughter's contagious, and they enjoy seeing you enjoy yourself. Next question, please.
The question was, I didn't give Les the question. Okay, this is Miss Pat again. The question is, what is the legacy you want to be remembered for?
I aspired. Les Brown. I aspired to inspire until I expire. That's my legacy.
Wow, that's profound. Thank you.
Thank you.
Les, it's a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much. I represent the millions of people out there whose lives you've impacted in a positive way, immeasurable way. Because I had an organization in sales for 25 years, and I had hundreds of salespeople that would adore you, listen to you, you would motivate them, you would change their attitude. You were part of their daily diet every day. So I want to thank you. I'm so grateful to you for that. And along that line, I would like to ask you, I'm sure you've heard of many stories of people's lives that you've impacted. Could you tell us a story of someone's life that you've impacted that particularly touched you? Thank you, Les.
Oh, thank you so very much. And, yes. I received a email, and the guy who sent it to me, he didn't show his face, but he had a freshly carved writing on his chest, and it read, "It's not over until I win." And that was the title of the speech that I gave in the Georgia Dome. And then he went on to write me in this email. This is the first time talking about this because I can see it now. It moved me so deeply because that had to be painful. He said, I was on the verge of taking my life. I had the gun to my head. I had it cocked. I'd gone through so much I didn't want to live anymore. And something happened. He was interrupted with a friend calling his house. When the phone rang, he stopped for a moment and wondered who would be calling me now at 2 o'clock in the morning. And this friend just called and said, I'll just call to see how you're doing. He said, I lied and said, I'm doing fine. And this friend detected in his voice that he wasn't doing fine. Said, you know what? There's this guy named Les Brown. He's on YouTube. You ought to go on there. He's speaking in the Georgia Dome. And listen to his speech. It's not over till you win. And he said, he put this speech on and started listening. And at first, he didn't really pay much attention to it. But he said, his ego spoke and said, I don't need this. And he had already put the gun in the chamber, had it cocked, put it up to his head. And I got to the stage of the speech, the point where I was talking about playing Connect 4 with my son, who would not let me quit. And I said, John Leslie, I said, listen, you can't beat me in Connect 4. I'm number one on Mars and Jupiter throughout the galaxy. And he said, Dad, you can't go to sleep now. And I said, why not? He said, it's not over until I win. And then I built that out. And when he heard that, he put the gun down. And he said, wow. It stirred something in him. that he wanted to live. I talked about the fact that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. And to see the bruises on his chest, on where that was carved, that's what he had put on him. After that, the next day, and he looks at it when he gets up in the morning, last thing at night, it's not over until our win. All of us have certain people that we're going to reach. I believe that we were born to help each other. I have this saying, help somebody and help yourself, because what you give is what you get. That love, hope, and inspiration are perfumes you can't sprinkle on others without getting a few drops on yourself.
Les, this is Doc. There are honors that we just cannot rise to the level of feeling that we deserve, and this is one of them. So I want to thank you, Manny, for organizing this, but Les, I really want to thank you for being here today. This feels surreal. My question for you is, and I need to let you know, I'm a psychiatrist, and at times I'm buried with writing notes. And I listened to your presentation on YouTube, and so I actually recorded it. And some of those times when it's overwhelming and you just have this pile you're trying to get through, many times your voice has been a critical voice that's playing in the background and continuing to encourage me. One of my favorite stories is the one in which you say, you got to work on yourself. And then you go into explaining how just before you were being called back onto the audience, you learned that your significant other was with someone else.
Yes.
Oh, my word, man. My word. So if you could just give us a tip on how we as entrepreneurs can keep our eyes focused on our dreams, but at the same time, make sure we're taking care of our relationship. What have you learned in your years? This is Doc. I'm done speaking, and much love, much honor, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Oh my God. You're the first person to ever ask me about that story. Oh my goodness. I had spoken and I'd been gone for like 2 months and got a standing ovation, and I left the stage and they were chanting, "We want the motivator," the audience was. And I called my girlfriend Cheryl. I said, "Listen, they're chanting, they're calling my name. We want the motivator." And I heard a voice in the background say, "Hurry up and tell him." And I said, "Who's that?" And she said, "Les, I'm sorry. Our relationship is over. You're not here long enough for us to build anything meaningful." And hung up. And so they said, "Les, they're cheering for you. Please come back out." And I said, "Oh my goodness." And they opened the curtains for me to come back out, and I came out on the stage and dropped to my knees. I said, "Sometimes your dream will make you drop to your knees." And I was crying, and somebody said, "He's got the Holy Spirit. He's got the Holy Spirit." I was crying. Oh boy. Well, here's what I encourage all of you to do. Do what matters most. As I speak to you now, I'm watching my words, because your body hears everything that you say. I've been going to Cancer Centers of America and the Cleveland Clinic for over 29 years, and the one center in Houston. And so every day I deal with pain. And I remember reading a book about dying a life of no regrets. And this hospice nurse, she talked to patients and found out what were the things they had some regrets about. And the number one was that they didn't spend time with their relationships. They didn't ask about how many sales they made, the growth of the business, how much money they had in the bank. But they reflected on their life and the special moments they could have created with their children or friends. And they didn't do that. And they don't get to do that now in that place where they were. So I have, when I give my presentations, Zooms, I have my children in the background. A good man leaves a legacy for his children and his children's children. I spend a lot of time with my kids, and I have a grandson that he speaks, and I have 15 grandchildren, and I have 5 great-grandsons. And so I create deliberately special moments with my family. And my children, 5 of them, speak with me. The Lord said, be fruitful and multiply. I took him seriously. I have 5 boys and 5 girls.
You're funny, Will.
Yes, and so create special moments with friends. I have a friend that I haven't talked to in 2 weeks. I'm going to call him today, and we're going to spend some time together. So I plan those in addition to my strategy for dying young at an old age, taking care of myself, because my goal is not to be a burden to my children. And I do little things. I will send them funny jokes or things that I see on the internet, or we do Zooms together. Just make it important to create those special moments. We don't know how much time we have here. I remember when Michael Jackson, his team, spent millions of dollars saying, this is it. This is it. But it was not the it that he had in mind. I was at Caesar's Palace sitting at a table across from Frank Sinatra, and I heard him say to a young man, he said, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so when I get up in the morning, I said, Lord, whatever I face today, together you and I can handle it. All things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And then I say, I'm here. I'm not taking a dirt nap. I'm here. Oh, look out, world. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. And then I go up to my squirrely. And my son John Lester said, Dad, would you cut that out? So my squirrely conversation tickles me, but he doesn't find it funny. He thinks I'm losing it. But you have to offset that stuff that you are listening to every day. They did a study of people who were going to see a psychiatrist for years. And once they were told they had a terminal illness, they stopped going back for therapy and went on to live the rest of their lives. And so you have to put in some stuff to crowd out that stuff that you're taking in so that it doesn't affect you. The number one suicide rate is among psychiatrists, because what you listen to, you turn into. And so I believe Ian Levon Sartre had a very good point, and I practice this now more than ever. Give to yourself until your cup runneth over, and then give to others from the overflow. I'm through speaking.
Now, Hold on for a second. Les, I know you agreed somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes. We double that. It's on your discretion when you want to leave. I know how busy you are. It's up to you how much longer you like to stay. But I want to respect your time. And you can stay here all day.
Okay.
You got close.
I'm on fire. You got me fired up right now. I'll take one more call. I know you have other guests and other people. But let me, yes.
You can stay, Les. You can stay for the next hour. There's no hurry. There's close to 700 people. There's an upcoming event you're doing in August. And I want to make sure that at least one ticket is given away for those people who are texting a number. I'm also going to share the list with you and invite you back to the community to support you because you've done so much for others. And right now in this virtual environment, it's the easiest way to support you at this stage of your career. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We do need some help on our event in New York on August the 14th. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is Linda Sims. How are you?
I'm blessed to hear the sound of your voice.
Oh my gosh, I love hearing you. One of the things, you're so gracious, and everyone who asks a question, you always pour into them, and I truly appreciate you. I have a question around your Hungry to Speak, or you said you have your grandchildren speak. Do you teach children also to speak in that Hungry to Speak program?
Absolutely, because it's your ability to communicate is your superpower. Warren Buffett, after graduating from Harvard, the first thing he did, he took a communications course. He said, your inability to communicate is like being in a dark room with a woman, a beautiful woman, and you wink, but nothing happens. So it humanizes you when you are able to communicate. All great leaders are great communicators. The people that we listen to, your ability to advance yourself in your career in corporations is 85% dependent upon your ability to communicate versus 15% of your technical skills. So, yes, I do train kids to speak and been doing that for years because our kids need to know they can do more than just rap, which I say it created what I call two viruses that I'm looking to eliminate. HIV, hood-infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration, and death syndrome. So when we train other young people that they can communicate in a different kind of way to create a different culture, that young men will pull their pants up and dress like a prospect rather than a suspect, and learn how to speak to the world and transform their mindset, learn how to develop relationships with people that will allow them to become an asset to society rather than a liability. We have to enroll them in the process that they're molding now, what they will be in the future. And so this is why I believe that we should focus on working and cultivating a sense of greatness in our children early on, like Serena and Venus' father did with them, Tiger Woods' father did with him, as Serena's doing with her daughter right now. And my son, John Leslie, who was earning $2,500 an hour at 14, started speaking when he was 10, and now honors my grandson. He's speaking at 7. So we have to develop our kids' minds, their character. T.D. Jakes has a quote that says, "Lord, don't let my talents take me where my character can't keep me." So we focus first on the messenger and then the message delivery. You know, people say practice what you preach. I believe preach what you practice, and then teach them how to go after that which they want out of life, what they hunger for. My new book is called You Gotta Be Hungry. And just imagine my grandmother, she taught herself how to read from the newspapers they used to insulate the walls in the cabin where she lived to keep out the cold winter air. And they said about her, she was hungry to learn. Who would have thought that her grandson, Les Brown, that her daughter, Dorothy Bell Rucker, gave birth to, and his twin brother in Miami, and came back and didn't say anything to anybody, that his central message would be, you've got to be hungry. Who would have thought coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous? When I drive there sometimes, I stand before this bus of her and I look at it and I say, I finally found you. And my mother, I didn't know where I got this gift from, this hunger in my heart to want to make a difference. If you were here now, what would you say to me? I know the journey that brought me here in front of you is longer than the one that I have left. What would you say to me now? And I heard clearly in my mind, continue to speak life. Continued to speak life. And that really hit me because I remember going into a prison in Bearsville, Ohio, to speak to a group of women that were in prison. And this lady said, she screamed out, "Speak life, mister. Speak life to me." And oh my God, she said it, it just gave me chills. And when I spoke, I gave it everything I had. And at the end, I was looking for her. I saw her eyes, I heard her voice. And they had taken her out along with the others. And I said, did I reach her? And the guy who was security, he said, I don't know. He said, but you reached me, man. You got me. I said, but what about her? What's her name? He said, I don't know. We can't let you go among them for security reasons. And I was like a little kid. I was crying. I just want to know I gave her my best. Did I speak life to her, man? He said, oh my God, you were very emotional, aren't you? I don't know what you call it, man, but that touched me when she said that. And now whenever I take a microphone, my goal is to speak life because somebody in that audience needs it. And I'm going to bring it. I will take no prisoners and eat the wounded and start at their ears like Mike Tyson. Yum, 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 yum. Let me end here. Let me end here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I needed this today. A good friend of mine passed, one of my mentees, and I was looking forward to this. And I feel better that I was able to serve you today. Continue to do the great work that you're doing, Manny. I admire you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you and for the people that are listening. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy and Dorothy Bell's pride and joy. I've got two mothers and I'm not ashamed. I got two mothers and I love them just the same. Oh, you can't handle the voice. You thought that was John Legend, huh? No, that's a whole other ticket. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Les,
Les.
before you go,
We're talking about the children.
Oh, can I say this real quick? Can I just say
Yes,
this real quick?
Doc.
Les, Les, before you go, you need to know about your mentee, Manny Fernandez. Manny frequently references you as an influencer in his speaking. He frequently references you as why he practices speaking. Manny has created this club and given generously in helping us up-level our game. I need you to know that we have been blessed by you through him. He embodies the generosity that I believe you've influenced him with, and wow, the amazing experiences that he has created for our club. Of course, I want to thank him for it, but I also want to thank you. This is a mentee that you should be proud of. This is Dr. Mendon speaking.
I am proud of Manny. That's a saying. Thank you, Manny, for what you have been doing. We learn, we earn, and we pass it on. And Manny, you are convicted in your spirit to live a life that will outlive you. You know that you've been chosen to do the greater work. I thank God for you. Continue, my brother. And to all of you that are listening right now, the reason you're listening, because what's in me is in you and more. And what you listen to, you turn into. Thank you very much. I'm through speaking.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Les. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Les.
Les, I thank you so much for your time. It's one of the most precious things. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to say in this moment. Thank you for being here. That's first. Thank you for who you are. I don't know if you know me. I certainly know you. I've looked up to you for many years. Ironically, before I changed my life, I'd heard of Les Brown. I don't know if you know my story. And I thought, I thought a lot about what to say. When I was 19, I lost my grandma to cancer. My grandma was like my mom. That was there. I lived with her for the first few years of my life, and my mom and me have a different relationship. I definitely got my entrepreneurial sense. I got it from my mama. Anyways, when that happened, I ended up getting hooked on crack, and I battled with that addiction for a long time. And that drug is, something that takes the pain away sometimes. It's what it was. I'm so grateful now that I'm able to realize that it doesn't. It compounds the pain. I'm so grateful that 3.5 years ago I was beaten into a coma, and when I came out of it, I asked God, why am I still here? And I realized that I'm here for a reason. And we all have a story. And what's my story? And now I was, been on a journey discovering how to give back and change after so much pain from before. And I used to say, I wish I could go back, but I'm so grateful now for everything that I've gone through. So I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't. I wouldn't be able to tell everybody that can hear my voice now or in the future that you can change, and all of you can do anything. And so I would love to hear your feedback on my story, because I'll never get this moment again. And I thank you for your time, Les.
What is your name? What is your name?
My name is Dan Monahan. My name is Dan Monahan.
Dan, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'd like to thank you personally. My name is Ori Spado. All right, I want to thank you for what you're doing to help the youth of our country. All right, what you said was so right on. Okay, I'm a reformed gangster, and I'm dedicating my time to mentoring young men to get out of the life of crime, seek education, a trade or something they love. I'm mentoring several young men. I've been very successful at it. And boy, you were spot on with it, and I want to thank you. And I hope, because being in prison, I hope that young lady got your message that day. I thank you, bless.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. And I recognize and salute you for coming to yourself, that you are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. Thank you for helping our youth. They're 40% of our population, but they're 100% of our future. Thank you for who you are.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let me end this with Dan. Dan, I want you to listen to me closely. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan. As I look at myself and look at my life in and out of the pandemic, this person that you now see, he's a new resident here. I understand the words of Paul, who said we must die daily. I want you to think about some big dream you have. For a period in my life, I was living a life that wasn't me. It wasn't me. But there came a point, and I know it's the influence of my grandma, there came a point that I looked at Dan, and I died to who that Dan was to be this Dan now. And I developed a big dream of wanting to make a change in the lives of people that I encounter. I decided that I was not going to continue to live the life that I was living. And so, dream big. Most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life, I've come to know, because they aim too low and hit. The next thing that's very important is accountability partners. That you can't make it in this life by yourself. You want to put yourself in a community of like-minded people, people that's going in your direction. People rub off on you. Sidney Poitier, the Academy Award winner, he said in his book, The Measure of a Man, he said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. He said, either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? Surround yourself. Come into a community of like-minded people that's going in your direction, that you can learn from mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough out of Atlanta said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. Accountability partners. Create a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, as Manny Fernandez has created. And the next thing is, as you think about this dream and this new life that you have envisioned, you're going to have failures. You're going to fail your way to success. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. But here's what I say to you. Never give up. Winston Churchill, late in his 90s, was asked to speak to a group of cadets. And when he came in, he braced himself on his cane and he looked at these young men. And he said, never, 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 ever give up. He spoke those 7 words and he walked out. So I say to you, they call me Dan the Man. Dream big. Surround yourself with accountability partners that bring the best out of you. And never, 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 ever give up. They call me Dan the Man, but times. I'm a bad dude. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bravo. Bravo.
Y'all take care. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Les Brown.
This is Chris. I just wanted to second what Doc had said. Les, Manny is your star student. The way that you guys have captivated my attention and the way that the people that are around me are captivated by the stories that Manny tells now. It's just refreshing to hear someone who can tell the story, not yelling it at you, not, forcing it down your throat, but just in a way that you can really relate. And the stories that you both have told, they touch so many people. So I'm definitely grateful for the stories. And also, I just wanted to say, Les, the first time I heard you speaking, it was a story about how you were telling everyone that everything was going to be okay, and you were going through so much on your own. It really resonated with me, and I've been a fan from then on. And I see that in Manny also. So you have definitely raised a star student. Les, can I pray you out the room, man?
I appreciate that very much.
Our Father and our God, dear Lord, we thank you for sharing this gem with us. We thank you for the life that he has spoken into this world so consistently. We pray in a special way that you would bless him and touch him with your holy hand, from the crown of his head to the sole of his feet, so that all that encounter him would know that he's blessed by you. Lord, we pray these things in the powerful name of your Son. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Les.
I appreciate
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye for now.
God bless.
Bye, Les. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you,
so much
Les.
for that.
Thank you, Manny.
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 Thanks, Manny.
Manny, this is Chanel. Maybe on the back end, because I didn't get to ask Les question. I would love to know the 3 books that changed his life. If you're able to find that out for me, that would be fantastic. This is Chanel. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that we'll bring him back again. As well as I want to hear from you. Do you want him to come back again? You want to have him teach us collectively via Zoom? Do you want one-on-one coaching with this legend? He reminds me of, sad to say, when I was in my early 20s, they had an upcoming event with a guy named Zig Ziglar. And I was like, nah, I'll go next time. I won't go this time because I'm busy. I was really short on budget and I had a lot of other excuses. And then I heard in 2012, Zig Ziglar passed away. Zig Ziglar was one of the great speakers as well. And I look back and I'm like, I should have just did it. I had some bullshit excuses why I didn't go, and I should have went. But now I missed it. I never got a chance to see him live. And here's Les Brown at the age of 76. I'm sure he's going to be here to be 176. But we got to take advantage of this legend of genius of public speaking. Really, seriously. We're going to be talking about him when he's gone. And let's figure out what we can do together. I really believe the biggest thing in my life that helped accelerate my life from unknown to known is my ability to tell a story. But it's not a natural thing. I had to work on it. So no matter where you're at in the world, I think the next level of it is ability to tell a story. You could be a brilliant person, but if you can't communicate something to a person where they can understand it and they think it's their own idea, that's the uniqueness of it. What do you guys think about this event? It was a big one, huh?
Oh, it was amazing.
Great. Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Awesome.
Inspirational.
Awesome.
You did a good
It reminds me of the Stan Martin quote. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. And Les Brown is definitely a legend. And Manny, I definitely believe that you are a legend as well. People are going to talk about you as well as Les when you guys pass on. And it was a privilege. So thank you so much. And this is Chanel. Not sucking up, but just being completely honest.
Manny, this is about the oldest suck up. I'm sorry. This is Miss Patton. I'm going to suck up. Okay. You have changed my life since I've been in this clubhouse. You have brought me out of the closet and back into the world of dreams come true. And I just want to thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have changed my life, and in changing my life, you're also helping to change my family's life. Love you. I speak it from my heart.
Thank
you. Roy, I don't suck up to nobody, as you know, but I will give you credit. That was a great show.